I want to talk about the 3 things that made me a 250k paralegal. I really wanted to target the paralegal industry specifically with my 3 principles that got me to being a 250k paralegal because I know the paralegal. I was one. I guess you could still, I think, are you ever not a paralegal anymore after you've been one? It lives in your heart and soul, and it is who you are. And your family sure still thinks that you are a paralegal for the rest of your life. But no, I no longer do paralegal work, but I do want to talk about the journey specifically because I know paralegals. We always say, yeah, but our industry is different. Yeah, but that wouldn't apply to the legal space. That doesn't really apply to my unique situation and my background and my experience and what's actually possible in the world out there, which is why I always preface anytime I come in and talk about money, I am not here to brag. Trust me, I come from an atmosphere where we don't talk about money. Money is a very taboo conversation. It's something we talk to vent and complain about not having it, but you don't open your mouth and start talking about how much money you do have because that would come off as bragging and rude in the culture that I was raised and brought up in. However, I think it's really important for me knowing all the things I just stated about a paralegal that always says they are the exception to the rule. There's no way I could go and make that much money. This might apply to this industry and that industry, but it would not apply to the paralegal world. There's just no crossing over once you're in the paralegal space unless you're going on to be a lawyer. That's the only way you can get out of being a paralegal and earning more in the legal field. I find it necessary to talk about my money because I am here to show paralegals across the United States all that is possible for their careers. They don't have to settle for the 9-to-5, $60,000 a year income cap, which is barely getting by in this economy. I am here to show paralegals they have a world of opportunity out there waiting for them to tap into and explore, whether that be through entrepreneurship in the paralegal space, entrepreneurship in alternative service offerings, product creation, influencing, public speaking, authorship, or just different roles within larger companies or different companies that their paralegal experience can cross-reference into. Obviously, I am here to talk about building businesses, and as a result, this is going to be the whole theme of this podcast episode because business is the route I personally took to get to becoming a $250,000 paralegal. Before I jump into the 3 things, I do want to make a mention. If you have tuned into this and are still here with me, you have a calling. And the reason I know that is because there's something that's drawing you in to saying, this is definitely a path I'd be interested in taking. And no, it's not just because of the title and it's not just because of the money. It's because deep down, you truly are curious as to how you can too change your current situation. If you absolutely 100% wrote off the idea that would ever be possible for you, you wouldn't be wasting your time listening to this video. So congratulations, you do have a sliver of belief in your subconscious that there is a possibility for you to change your life from a financial perspective, from a personal freedom perspective, and from a career satisfaction perspective. Okay, the number one thing I can narrow down that I did that turned me into $250,000 paralegal is I built before I believed. And I know that sounds so backwards because a lot of the times we think we need to have it all figured out in our mind. We have to have that confidence. We have to have that, we got this. I believe in myself. I'm going to drive and prove everybody wrong because I have this really strong belief system that it can happen. But I will tell you that the good majority of the people in the world that have made it big, multi-million dollars, billions of dollars, did not fully believe that it was possible when they began. The thing that was driving them that was not belief or confidence, if you will, is desperation or desire. Now, you could look at desperation and desire as one and the same, meaning I'm either desperate for a situation to change, but you could also say, I desire a different situation. Us is going to experience one of those emotions stronger than the other as they are navigating their way away from what they don't want anymore and into what they do want. One of them is going to be talking a lot louder. For me, it was desperation. And for 2 years, I sat as a subcontractor making anywhere from $12 to $20 an hour. And during those times, I knew I wanted more. I was desperate to not struggle so badly financially anymore. I was desperate to not look at my bank account on December 15th, wanting to buy my newborn child some Christmas presents, even though it's for me, not him really, because he's a baby and he doesn't know what's going on. But still, it's that motherly instinct in me that so desperately wanted to be able to buy presents without panicking about making the mortgage. And at the time, yes, I was very focused on success in the financial aspects of things. I thought that the only way to become successful was to believe in myself and drive forward with that belief system. So over those 2 years, I tried to find a belief system within me through education, through knowledge, through watching YouTube videos, reading books, Googling things, and reaching out to communities and asking for other people's stories and words of encouragement and guidance in starting my own business. I kept trying to find the belief, but there was always the but in my mind. But there are so many more successful paralegals out there, more capable than me. I live in the middle of nowhere. How am I going to reach attorneys that are actually open to this type of work when I have no marketing experience? And I kept doing that for 2 years, starting notebooks, jotting down ideas, all the things. And then those notebooks would just end up underneath my bed and I would try to forget about it for some time. But that driving desperation, every time I opened my bank account, every time I had to go to the mailbox and get a new bill, every time that we were worried, okay, our furnace isn't working right now, I hope it's not a huge fix. And the desperation for me was much greater than the desire for something else. I was so desperate to not experience what I was experiencing anymore. And for 2 years, that trying to get into learning more about business and all these things were ruminating around my mind and in notebooks and here and there and everywhere. I gave up and I said, maybe it's a mindset thing. And I need to start reading books on mindset and books on self-development and learning how to believe in myself and learning how to take negative thoughts and turn them into positive, or learn more spirituality principles that will help me table some of the subconscious doubts and fears and negative self-talk that I'm experiencing right now. So I switched to those books and I did all these things. And finally one day I never found it. I never found the true visceral feeling of belief that I wanted to feel. It never happened. And I don't know what it is. It was almost as if I just had enough of the turmoil I was putting myself through and waiting to start my freelance paralegal business, waiting to change my financial reality, waiting to take back my personal freedom, my ability to raise my children in the ways that I want to raise them. It was that moment where I just went downstairs. I said, screw it. I'm doing the thing anyway. I don't know what it was. I could not tell you. And I wish I could, but maybe that's not for knowing. It was just a moment that I decided I'm going to build it. I'm going to try. I don't know much, but here we go. I filed my LLC and I built the business. And what happened after was within 7 months of building a resemblance of a business, I was taking home $6,500 a month compared to some months making 200 and others making 400 and others making 800 here and there. $6,500 a month was life-changing immediately within 7 months. And it was through every single month and small, tiny little actions and small wins month over month that I started to find a sense of belief within myself. I hate telling people that you have to build and then you will believe, meaning that your self-worth is somewhere external from you. But the point of the build before you believe is that you have to get out of your own head and just start walking. As Rumi said, begin on the path and the path will appear. And it wasn't that I only started believing in myself once I hit the life-changing dollar amount that I had not even set in my head that would make me finally believe that I could be successful. I started believing in myself when I filed the LLC. I started believing in myself when I set up my website, when I made my first blog post, when I had my first discovery call, when I started to tweak things and fix my service offerings and play around with my business and connect with attorneys on LinkedIn and start doing the things that I needed to be doing to grow this business sustainably and slowly, if you will, to start building this business piece by piece, inch by inch, small actions every single day. I was building belief in myself as I was taking action. At one point, setting up my website was a scary thing because of all the fears that were ruminating through my mind that I ended up not starting the website. I was finally starting the website and those things were still there, but I was still doing it anyway. And I was believing in my resilience. I was believing in my push to change the situation that I found myself in. I was starting to believe more and more in myself. And then yes, success started to come. Month over month, we were growing. And then I truly started to believe in myself when we were getting to the end of that year. And I said, I don't even know that I have a cap in how far I can take this anymore. And the more I did that, the more I became the version of myself that needed to become in order to soar the business to the levels and the multiple six figures that I ended up developing it to. In summary, to the first thing I did to get me to become a $250,000 paralegal was to build before I believed. Number two is to continue to show up even when I heard crickets. Starting to show up more and more in the online space with what I was there to say. Having my unique belief system, having my unique theories and my unique methodologies to law firm growth, and wanting to input my belief system based on my paralegal experience, create a voice around that, and start building content that further validated authority and expertise within the topic that I had chosen. I heard crickets every single month. I would work 4 hours on crafting the perfect blog post with the pictures and the right highlights and the right this and the right that, and I'd get 17 views on my website. That is the definition of working really hard and hearing crickets. And honestly, even today, I still hear crickets on a lot of the things that I post week over week. And then I'll post something about my goat and I'll get the most views that I've gotten on any of my videos that entire week put together. I don't know what to tell you. Content marketing is a game. And now, how does this relate to becoming a $250,000 paralegal? The more you show up online, the more you create authority in your space, the more you demonstrate brand, personal brand, and expertise, the more you're going to be seen by the people that can get you to higher paying roles, as well as in the entrepreneur space will help your business gain more visibility. You will be seen for more speaking events, for more article contributions, for whatever that may be. It's just the reality. You can't not exist online if you're trying to grow your career beyond measures of what you've ever experienced growing your career before. Yes, the old way could be to sit there and wait and get your tenure, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. However, paralegals need to recognize that if they go to establishing authority, push themselves to creating some sort of niche topic that they post about all the time, build a following, build a network, you will capitalize on that over time because you're building your own voice within an industry. Paralegals historically have been seen as the background noise, the background support, the back office, whatever you want to coin it, the support staff, the cringy non-attorney word that I can't stand when people use as they're referencing paralegals specifically. So we fail to recognize all of the things that help an attorney practice and not malpractice. We have expertise. And you can pick such a niche topic and get online and start demonstrating that expertise. You don't have to go crazy with it right off the bat. Slowly posting a few times a week, getting your name out there, building a network. You are slowly developing your own voice in the industry. And having your own voice in the industry helps you to stand against your standard $60,000 income cap that has been established for your support staff, legal support staff roles, because you're positioning yourself as a growth partner to a law firm, as a person that's going to help an attorney add to their revenue, add to their profitability, add to their sustainable growth journey. And now that narrative has been switched. You're not just an employee out there seeking the $60,000 roles. You're building a brand, you're building a presence, and I'm here, and give me a seat at the table in the industry. And that has helped me in ways that are beyond measure over the course of 4.5 years. It has helped me build a following of paralegals to join in my courses, to starting other freelance businesses. It has helped me be recognized as an industry leader in the freelance paralegal space. It has helped me sell courses that are further contributing to my movement of creating more empowered industry thought leader paralegals in this space. And hearing crickets and showing up anyway is something your future self will thank you for over and over again. And finally, number 3, which is to create a vision in your mind right now. Think about if you could wave a magic wand in your career and what you're earning and what you are doing in a day-to-day basis, and how you're feeling and how you're showing up and how you're walking through life. Take that vision and now I want you to double it. Now take that vision and double it again. Because what got me to earning multiple six figures as a paralegal, that got me to the position of selling my business, and what got me to leading an industry movement for paralegals to take charge and start their own businesses and earn six figures and beyond is by not thinking small. And it's so hard for us. We constantly want to shrink our goals because we feel in some way that comforts us. We don't want to set ourselves up for disappointment or set ourselves up to thinking, oh, we didn't reach that goal, we failed. And in doing that, we start to unintentionally play small. You cannot play small in your goals. And no, money is not the end all be all. Trust me, I know that wholeheartedly. I know that when I watched my son get his first deer at 6 years old. No money in the world could replace the feelings that I get when I get to be with my family and live a slow life and sit out by the campfire and enjoy my goats and my chickens and the things that aren't, you don't have to be a millionaire to have those things. Not about saying that you have to want the same things everybody else quote unquote wants. It's not to say money is going to buy you happiness. It's not saying that money is the only thing that dictates whether or not we're successful. It's to demonstrate how we subconsciously keep our goals low so that we don't set ourselves up for self-disappointment. And if you set that goal and you set that intention and you walk forward with movement, with purposeful, guided action, driving towards your purpose, driving towards change in other people's lives and how you show up in the service industry as a freelance paralegal, for instance, I promise you those goals will eventually come. Ever dream you have for yourself? Big, hairy, crazy, fluffy, scary, sometimes sounds a pipe dream. Don't even imagine how you can go from here, $200 in your checking account, to there and soaring what you ever thought was possible for your life. You can. And that goes right back to belief. So let's backtrack to number one, build before you believe. It's sequential. Build, show up when you hear crickets, believe that every dream you set for yourself is achievable. And if you're not there yet at number three, go back to number one and just start building. Because I promise you, imposter syndrome, fear, doubt, it thrives on inaction because it exists in our mind. It thrives on inaction. When we start taking action, those self-limiting thoughts, belief systems cannot survive because it only lives in the mind. And when you're acting and you're doing the thing anyway, it can't be up here anymore because you're thinking about out there. So to summarize the three things that turned me into 250k paralegal: build before you believe, show up even when you hear crickets, and do not limit your goals to what your subconscious mind thinks is only possible. I am here to create more paralegal entrepreneurs. I am here to empower paralegals feeling stuck in their 9-to-5, limiting careers, low job satisfaction, lack of personal freedom, truly those paralegals that know they are capable of more in their own lives. I'm here to speak to those paralegals. And if you're one of those paralegals, which I'm positive you are because you've made it to the end of this video, I want you to take advantage of my no-cost freelance paralegal starter course. Learn how I scaled my business to $500,000 in its third year. Learn about that market demand and the steps that you need to start taking to get started and to build, even if you don't believe. As always, please feel free to drop a comment. If you have any questions, make sure to subscribe. And until next episode, have great days ahead of you.